I'm scared of trying, I'm scared it might end. I hate the feeling when you're out of love. In love, in love, in love. When you're out of love. In love, in love, in love. I just hope you, I just hope you, I just hope you feel what I feel. Welcome back to the Give and Go. I'm your co-host Reynoso here with my boy
Soltero. What's up, guys?
We're here to cover 2 games in the Copa America, but remember to thumbs up this stream. That's the first thing you have to do is thumbs up this stream right now. Get our numbers up, help us out here, and make sure to subscribe to the Give and Go if you haven't already, because we're covering Copa America and Euros. Today, we had Argentina defeating Peru in the third round of these matches of the group stage. Argentina winning this game with a Lautaro Martinez brace, and Chile tying Canada, thus meaning that Canada sees themselves go through in second place in Group A. That is the most notable storyline of today because overall, I think both games were pretty straightforward, bro.
Yeah, I mean, Maple Leafs in the chat, though, this is huge for Canada because this is technically their Copa America debut as well. So we see Georgia go to the knockout stage in the Euros, and we see Canada, the only debutant at the Copa this year, also get through. And ultimately, it was kind of a tricky group for Canada. They had Argentina to face, which they got, soundly beaten, and then they had a tough game against Peru, and today was no different. This was a tough game against Chile. They did enough, 0-0. There was a very early red card, which is unfortunate for Chile because who knows what would have happened if there's 11 men for Chile for the entirety of the match. But it ends 0-0, and that's all Canada needed.
Yeah,
that's all they needed.
Suazo getting the red card in like the 25th minute, bro. That's the worst thing that could have happened for Chile going into a must-win game. And just a second ago, when you said Maple Leafs go through, I legit thought you were talking about hockey. That's how unprepared I was to correlate Maple Leafs and Canada to progressing through in a major tournament in football because this team is doing something very special, very special. And I'm seeing the Maple Leafs in the chat right now. Canadians, tell me how you feel about this game. Tell me how you feel about it, about this result, because it's a massive, massive moment for Canadian football potentially being one of the only, if not the only CONCACAF team to go through. We're yet to see the results from the other teams, but it's amazing that they've secured their place in the next round. We'll see how the rest of CONCACAF does in this tournament.
It's so interesting, though, because you look at this performance. I got frustrated at Canada in this match because every single ball that they sent in was just misplaced. But they had cross after cross. They got into the final third so many times, and they were able to break Chile's initial defense so many times. But that final ball, that final cross, never made it. And that's kind of been Canada's story all tournament long. They're just not clinical, man. And even Jonathan David has had several chances in front of goal. Can't really find the back of the net. He got that one good goal against Peru in the last match, but he's had chance after chance. It's just not converting for this Canadian offense. The same thing today. I mean, if they were just more clinical, they wouldn't have had to worry about a Chile maybe getting a surprise goal. But that's been Canada this whole time, and it is, again, a congratulatory job to Canada, but, I mean, they only have one goal.
They have one goal, and they've won 2 games with them being up a man.
Yeah.
The same thing against Peru, bro.
Exactly.
Getting a red card. So I agree. I want to give credit to them for what they've done, but I also am curious what is the true extent, the true ceiling of this Canadian team? Because
I don't know.
I think, honestly, to me, one of their biggest strengths is their physicality, because up against these South American teams, 3 South American teams in this group, Chile, Peru, and Argentina, I think the reason they've been able to battle these games out is because they can match their energy and physicality. I think that's something I didn't expect to see from this Canadian side. I thought they were going to go out there and get bodied. They're going to get in their own heads. The lights were going to be too bright. But instead, Canada's proven to be very formidable in that sense, at least mentally. But you're right. When it comes to finishing, when it comes to actually producing goals, bro, we haven't seen much of that, bro, outside of Jonathan David getting that goal against a 10-man Peru. So I do think there are some limitations on this Canadian side. I'm interested to see how they can go in the next round. But for now, this is very good. They got a big result against Chile with some help. But ultimately, it's football. And it's what happened, bro. It's what happened.
It's what happened. If you're Chilean, you're punching the air just because you hoped that this would have gone different. You had the personnel to get the win today, but it just wasn't meant to be. I know a lot of people are mentioning the Bombito elbow that happened
I saw
pretty or very recently after the red card was brandished. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of cool with the no red card there. I just thought it was, he raised his arm a little bit, but it wasn't necessarily that forceful. Chilean definitely sold it a little bit. Is there contact? Yes, but I'm cool with a no red card if it's not full extension.
I mean, if I'm Chilean, I'm mad. That's all.
And I get that too. I get it.
If I'm Chilean, I'm mad. Since I'm neutral, I guess I'm cool with it. But yeah, bro, that was a clear elbow, and it looked pretty harsh. I'm going to leave that up to the ref. I'm going to stay out of it. I'm just going to stay out of this. And if I was Chilean, I'd be pretty pissed off.
I think the only way the refs can kind of say that the elbow is okay is because he didn't really swing, right? He raised his arm and
Right, it could have been a natural movement type
It
shit.
could have been, and it kind of was. You kind of see it. It's definitely weird for sure. But since there's no true extension of the arm, I think that's how the refs are going to explain it.
Yeah, and then the thing with Canada and Chile is Chile, man. Chile. The performances they put now in these 3 games of the Copa America, I'm a bit disappointed, bro. I'm disappointed because I thought this team was going to be a completely different type of animal in this tournament. In the preview, you go back and look at it, I really did have Chile even pulling off a upset in the quarterfinals and being able to go to semifinal on what was supposed to be a very big moment for Chilean football. Although they've already won this tournament, I just thought given the place they are in right now in Conmebol and the transitionary phase that they're in, it's kind of surpassing those expectations is what I first saw for this Chilean team. But, bro, they didn't come close to it this tournament. They didn't come close. If anything, I think they maybe took a step backwards, bro, with Gareca not really finding any magic in this tournament, not doing anything special with this Chilean team that looked pretty lifeless offensively.
Yeah, they just could not get into rhythm. They played their best players. The ideas were there. The execution simply was not there for Chile. And it happens, but it does make sense. And I think you could say the opposite about Canada. This is a really good result for Canada. But it's not the craziest result either because at the end of the day, they tied Chile. Honestly, I think Canada and Chile are pretty much right there, right next to each other. They're both 50-50. And for Chile, this is super disappointing, but I also think it's just a reality check. Chile's mid. And the thing is, Canada also, too, even though they have players like Alphonso Davies, even though they have players like Jonathan David, they're also mid. So I think this is just the result of that. It's 2 mid teams. Canada gets the draw. They were just a little bit more lucky.
Canada's anti-football is insane, says Daka. They can't beat an 11-man team almost an entire match. Hoodie Jalen says mid-ass group in Argentina.
I think so. I think that's my conclusion here. Canada, congratulations, but I'm not excited. I will say though, just based off how low it got for Canada, this is a step in the right direction. If you also consider Jesse Marsch has only coached now 5 games in total, then maybe you can foresee a really nice future with Canada and Jesse Marsch together. So I think that's the positive that you can get from this group stage result.
And finally, we have someone who notices the little, what do they call it, Easter egg in the Give and Go stream we have going on today because, yes, we actually got Barcelona legend Carles Puyol to show up to the stream in the back. Carles Puyol is in here showing love. He just wanted to come on and talk on the pod. He doesn't feel like coming up and talking, though, but he's just going to stay put right there in the back, provide us with some vibes. Shot Fitness says, sorry, Chileans. The Chilean football team has forgotten to play football. They play physical, rough games, and that's it.
And I will say that's most of CONMEBOL when they don't have technically gifted players. I think they just revert to this physical type of play, because you could say the same thing about Peru and the same thing about Bolivia. They just revert to physicality to try and even up the game. I actually don't blame them, though, because we talked about it when Peru has played. Peru have to approach the game physically. Like, they have no other choice. So for Chile, I think it's just a sign of the times. Chile no longer have dynamic players, really. So they also, too, have to revert to physical play.
Yeah, and it sucks, though, because the quality of players that they have, the names they have, I think, are actually really promising. And the age that they're at right now is for, an opportunity for them to really step up and be prominent on this stage. I just don't think I saw any standouts truly for this Chilean team at the end of the day, man.
No, I was hoping Davila would really take this opportunity, because he's never been a starter for Chile up until recently. He was okay.
Yeah. Osorio,
he
Chileans
was
were telling me
okay.
about Osorio to check him out, and I didn't really get much from him after
He was
3
also
matches,
just mid.
Yeah.
Same with Marcelino Nunez. Like, he did his job, but there was just no standout performances from this Chilean team. None.
Yeah, and so Canada ends up going through. Do we have any other super chats before I move on to the next game? We have Abraham saying, what's going on with these early-ass red cards? What is going on with the players? I wonder, is that just some CONCACAF CONMEBOL type football? Because I don't think we've been seeing that as much in the Euros. We have seen we have seen a good amount of that to suggest there is a pattern so far with early red cards in CONCACAF CONMEBOL Copa America.
Yeah, it is interesting. Today's, I just think, was pure bad luck for Suazo. He was just too aggressive, trying to always be as tight as he could against Larrea. It's tough when Canada have a lot of pace, right? You have to balance that out. Suazo simply did not. He gets 2 yellows.
Yeah.
It was just unfortunate, but the right call.
John Wilton says, you guys yap a whole lot of nothing. Z's. Bro, did you watch the games today, man? Today was a whole lot of nothing. What are you talking about? What do you want us to do? Did you watch the games today, bro? Watch the football on the pitch, and you'll understand why we're speaking the way we are today. There was not much to take away from today's matches outside of Canada progressing and making history for their country, honestly. Santi says that Platense drips Soltero.
Bro. I actually got this at the stadium in Buenos Aires, so big shout out to Club Atlético Platense.
Damn, man. That's a shout out right there.
Huge shout out,
That's a shout out. Any Platense fans in the chat, that would hit, man. That would really hit. Bitch, at least Honduras have made it out of the group, unlike Canada's mid-ass team, says Gumby. So we got some Hondurans in the chat showcasing their pride for their country. Canada with this intensity. Canada with this intensity. How far can they go in this tournament? That's something I want to ask the chat. Here's a poll. Let's do a poll.
Question, yeah.
How far does Canada go? Quarterfinals, semifinals, or final? I think it's pretty straightforward where this Canadian team will go in this tournament. I think it's pretty much written in the stars for them now that they've gotten out of this group. But I'm interested to know if there's anyone that believes they can go deep and further into this tournament. Tell me why, and tell me in the poll. Let me know what you think. How do you see this Canadian team performing in these bigger matches that follow? I need to see who they're faced up against. I think it's going to be first place from Group B.
It'll be first place from Group B, which I guess it's looking like it might be Venezuela. Maybe, probably.
Yeah. Reynoso, you called me a 4-year-old for drinking chocolate milk. You have forever earned my respect. I forgot what happened last night, bro. I'm going to be honest with you. But, bro, if they face off Venezuela, I'm not saying Venezuela. I mean, Venezuela's a great team. It's a golden opportunity for either team.
Yes.
For either team?
That's my take. Even if they play against Ecuador, or honestly, if Mexico can squeeze in because they still have a chance, whoever it ends up being, I do think Canada have a really good chance, truly. But I will also say the same thing about their opponent. That game's going to be wide open. It doesn't matter, though, because they're both losing to Argentina in the semi.
That's what I think. Let's move over to Argentina versus Peru. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important was this game? Scale 1 to 10. How important was this game? Give it a rating so I know where you stand on it going into it.
I mean, I saw maybe 2 seconds of it. I was just watching Canada, Chile, bro. Like, I didn't watch this game at all. And I didn't care.
I think a 1 or 2, bro. Yeah. Like, honestly, Argentina was already through Peru, basically eliminated from the tournament.
Argentina with a B team as well.
Yeah, and it's Lautaro Martinez who gets a brace. Dude, Lautaro Martinez has suddenly taken this tournament by the throat and decided to just be the guy up front for Argentina. Because I think that's the biggest takeaway for them is the fact that Lautaro Martinez continues his impressive play up front. I think solidifying his argument for being the starting forward for Argentina over Julian Alvarez, because he's been so consistent now in the minutes that he's been getting. That's really it, man, because I agree. My eyes were on the Canada-Chile match, but I was checking in on Argentina every now and then to just see how they're looking. Defensively, they're still very, very strong, but it's tough to get a good takeaway against probably one of the worst, if not the worst team, unless you're talking about Bolivia, teams in Conmebol. So not much to take away here outside of Argentina doing what we expected.
Exactly. And, I mean, their first real test, I truly think, will be in the next round. But even then, it won't be that crazy of a test. Like, Argentina will face their best opponent definitely in the final, just because I really think the imbalance is huge at this tournament when you compare A, B versus C, D groups. But either way, Argentina they're just too good from back to front. They're just too good. So even if they struggle a little bit, they figure it out. That's what makes this Argentina team so good.
Yeah, I agree. And I think they're starting to build into that second gear that we've been wanting to see for them, especially in the knockout stages. I think the first two matches, they weren't A-plus performances from Argentina, but they're obviously great enough to get the results and still play great defense. I think they're building towards an A-plus performance in the knockout stages, and I think we will see that once the pressure is really on. So I think things are looking really, really good for Argentina right now, and finishing this group off the way they did, it just makes sense because ultimately this was a really easy group for Argentina, bro. Really easy group, man.
We kind of knew that, though, going into, because you just look at the teams, Chile, Canada, and Peru. I mean, it was clear that, Argentina got the easiest group in this tournament, and it's not even close. Like, there's just no real opponents in this group for Argentina, but hey, they dealt with it really well. They entertained, and they did what they could. I don't think they've reached their highest level yet, but it just doesn't matter with Argentina. It really doesn't. They're that good.
I'm going to move on to just match previews because, like I mentioned, these results are very straightforward today. We got what we needed from them. We know that Argentina and Canada go through. Let's talk about Group B because I think Group B is going to be a very fascinating group with Jamaica and Venezuela playing at the same time as Mexico, Ecuador. We'll do a quick poll for Jamaica versus Venezuela just to see what you guys think will happen in that game because that will be the game of less importance going into tomorrow because Venezuela is already qualified with 6 points and Jamaica still does have a shot of qualifying if they beat Venezuela but by a good margin and then also get some help. So ultimately it's not looking actually they might be mathematically eliminated now that I think about it. Jamaica.
They have 0 points, right?
They have 0.
Yeah, I think they're out.
Because somebody's going to get points out of Ecuador, Mexico. So, they're out. They're out. So, just real quick, Venezuela winning at 71, Jamaica at 29. That makes sense. Next poll. It's the game. It's the game, folks. It is the game. Mexico versus Ecuador. Let me see where it's at. State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona.
Okay, that'll be fun. That'll be a lot of fun.
Mexico against Ecuador. Winner goes through. Yes, sir, producer. Winner goes through. If Mexico loses, they are out. If Mexico ties, they are out. If Ecuador does anything but win. I'm confusing myself. Jesus Christ.
If Mexico win, they're through.
I already said what I need to say.
If Mexico
I'm overcomplicating it. God damn, man. It's going to be a banger, bro. It's going to be a banger. I need to know, chat, how do you guys feel? If we have any Ecuador fans, if we have any Mexico fans, let me know what's going to happen. Are we going to get a 0-0 like GD Plasman says? Alan Medina says, heart says Mexico. Mine says Ecuador. Let's see, man, because Mexico is coming off of a loss against Venezuela 1-0, and Ecuador is coming off of a victory against Jamaica, which was 2-1, 3-1. So two really interesting performances for both these teams to come off of. Salts, time to submit your prediction. Who's winning this game? Who's getting the result?
I just think Ecuador is going to get the result. Maybe they win, maybe they draw. And I say that because I do think Mexico is going to make this as tight as possible. I thought they had ultimately a good game against Venezuela. They just couldn't finish. And for Mexico, I have the same type of performance here against Venezuela. It will be tight, but I just don't think I see Mexico beating Ecuador. That's the problem. And they have to win here. I don't see that happening. Ecuador will get at least one goal or it just stays 0-0. And that only helps Ecuador. So I think for Mexico to get a win, I just don't see it happening.
It's going to be tough because apparently the lineup already was, leaked, I guess. Like we already know what it's going to be apparently.
Yeah.
And same lineup from the last game. Jimmy Lozano's making no changes after the performances we saw from the subs that came in and had impact last time.
Yeah,
He's still starting Antuna on the right, which I think is a big mistake given what we saw from Chino Huerta, and then also the fact that we have Roberto Alvarado waiting for minutes after a really good season with Chivas. Then the midfield, still going with Charlie when I think there's guys like Cortizo or maybe even like a Marcelo Flores to just give a shot, give some minutes, give him a chance to see what we can do with him. A new player, a new type of energy that maybe he can provide. And then at the back, it's just the same lineup. So I think that's one of the biggest mistakes going into this game. If that lineup ends up being true, then I definitely think Ecuador has this in the bag. Because we don't really, I just don't really see Mexico imposing themselves offensively, bro. Like you mentioned, we really only do that unless we're against the ropes.
Right.
Like once the pressure's on, once we're down a goal, then we'll start attacking. And we've never really been in a situation where going into it, we need a victory. I just don't know if we can get that right off the back. If we can impose ourselves without making ourselves weak at the back as well. So I think Ecuador does have the quality to beat us. My heart is going Mexico on this one. I'm going to root my ass off. But I'm just saying it is going to be tough. It's going to be tough against an Ecuadorian side that, if they achieve their best potential in this game, could end up becoming a really good team to watch going into the knockout stages.
Yeah, and that's actually a great point, and it's what I'm going to be looking for in this match. Ecuador need to take this game and play their best football because they're going to have a hell of a game against Argentina if they play in second place, if they finish in second place. So they need to have their best game against Mexico for good preparation against Argentina in the next round.
Crazy, though. It's a situation where if Mexico wins, and let's say Jamaica beats Venezuela by 2 goals, we could top the group.
Yeah, that's still there. That's still there.
That's kind of crazy, man. Daniel Corona says, I want Mexico to win, but if we do, Jimmy will stay. He needs to be out. Hopefully we play cohesively. If not, Ecuador is going to wipe the pitch. I agree with that completely. I agree.
Yeah,
Ecuador's defense can make a difference here. First time I've seen Ecuadorian defenders playing in good teams in Europe.
Absolutely,
That's also
man.
a good point, man. That's also a good point.
Pacho ni campeón.
Pacho's a baller.
I'd be really happy if I was Ecuadorian.
Yeah,
I'd be very happy.
How active he is, man. Preciado's
Yeah.
so active, dude. They do have a great backline now I think about it. Mexico losing at 35%. Mexico winning at 35%. Ecuador winning at 52%. A draw at 13%. I think that makes sense to me. Chucky T says, new subscriber, love from Peru. Shout out, man. Best
out,
of
Chucky.
luck. I pray every night for your national team, man. Every night, because of all the teams in international football, y'all need it the most, man, right now. It's a dark, dark time for Peru. But hey, shout out, man. We have a super chat here. Do we have a super chat? We got a super chat from a couple of fans of the Give and Go. Prince Diablo says, thoughts on Weah's 2-match ban? I guess that solidifies that he gets a 2-match ban for his crazy play.
I think it's fair. He swung. Bro swung. And not only did he swung, but he did it at the guy's head.
You're on TikTok too much, bro. Get your ass off of that, man.
And so it's 2-match ban. You just can't do that.
Yeah.
Heads off limits.
Yeah, so we won't see him unless USA makes it to the semifinals.
Semis,
yeah. Abraham says Mexico will win because it benefits the Federación getting more money for the Argentina versus Mexico game. Thing is, that's actually a very good point. We could genuinely see the calls be more in favor towards Mexico tomorrow because of that. Genuinely, bro. Let's be honest. Like, the amount of money they're missing out on that shit for Mexico not being in the knockout stage would be crazy. So we might have some help there, bro.
That'd be interesting. Even with a little help, I still think Ecuador somehow at least get the result.
Yeah. Drew says, OF, OnlyFans. Definitely haven't considered it, but if the folks want that, then fuck it, man. We'll do it for 200 million. If we can get 200,000 subscribers, we'll drop OF link. We'll drop to OF link. If we can get 200,000 subscribers, OF links are coming out. Frankie Mendez says, yesterday was crazy, you guys. We're doing magic tricks, eating cards, and Reynoso was about to get down with someone.
It was a vibe yesterday, man. It was a vibe.
God damn, yeah. And if I sound kind of tired, it's because of what happened last night, man. I was so lit, bro. But it was a legendary stream, folks. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Yesterday's stream celebrating 100,000 subscribers. We went crazy in the chat. Diego Garcia got called a 4-year-old in the fucking chat, drinking fucking milk. I almost got in a fight. It was a fucking incredible stream. Go check it out. Guys, thank you so much for joining the stream. We're going to keep it short. Pretty straightforward games today.
Yeah.
We'll be back tomorrow for some Euros knockout stage, round of 16 discussions.
Oh, man.
And then also Mexico playing in the Copa America. Tomorrow's going to be a good day.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's going to be a good day.
It's going to be fun.
Catch you guys. Peace.